Kurt Russell was born on March 17, 1951, in Springfield, Massachusetts, into a family that was no stranger to show business. His father, Bing Russell, was an actor best known for his role as the deputy in the long-running Western series Bonanza, while his mother, Louise Julia Russell, was a dancer. This early exposure to the entertainment industry had a profound influence on Kurt, who began acting at a very young age. By the age of 10, he was already making appearances on television shows, and it quickly became clear that he had inherited his father's screen presence and charisma. Russell's first significant break came when he signed a long-term contract with the Walt Disney Company in the 1960s. His association with Disney would define the early part of his career and make him one of the studio's most recognizable young stars. He starred in a string of popular family-friendly films, such as The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes, 1969, Now You See Him, Now You Don't, 1972, and The Strongest Man in the World, 1975. These roles earned him a reputation as the quintessential clean-cut, all-American teen actor. Walt Disney himself was said to have regarded Russell highly, and in fact, Russell's name was reportedly the last thing Walt Disney wrote down before his death, an enduring mystery and tribute to the young actor's potential. Despite his early success in Disney films, Kurt Russell was eager to prove himself as a serious actor beyond family comedies. He took a brief break from acting in the late 1960s to pursue a career in professional baseball, playing minor league baseball for several teams. However, a rotator cuff injury ended his sports ambitions and redirected him back to acting, where he would eventually reinvent himself and begin a new phase of his career. Russell's comeback to more mature and gritty roles began in the late 1970s. He shocked audiences and critics alike with his performance as Elvis Presley in the 1979 made-for-TV movie Elvis, directed by John Carpenter. The film marked a turning point, showcasing Russell's versatility and depth as an actor. His portrayal earned him an Emmy nomination and was the beginning of a long and fruitful collaboration with Carpenter, a director who would help usher Russell into a new era of fame with more daring and iconic roles. Thus, Kurt Russell's biography and early career are marked by a seamless blend of family influence, early fame, and personal ambition. From child actor to Disney teen idol, and briefly a baseball hopeful, Russell's journey to finding his own identity in Hollywood was shaped by both opportunity and reinvention. The foundations laid in this formative period would pave the way for a career that would span genres, decades, and generations. Kurt Russell's transition into the prime of his career during the late 1970s through the 1990s marked a defining era for both the actor and American cinema. It was a period that showcased his evolution from former Disney child star into one of Hollywood's most versatile, charismatic, and reliable leading men. With an uncanny ability to fluidly move between genres, Russell not only expanded his own creative boundaries, but also helped redefine the modern action hero. A critical turning point came in 1981 with Escape from New York, Russell's first major collaboration with director John Carpenter. As Snake Plissken, Russell embodied the archetypal anti-hero with a rugged edge and sardonic wit, signaling a sharp departure from his earlier roles. The character's disillusioned intensity struck a chord with audiences and established Russell as a force in the action genre. That role would become a cultural touchstone, referenced in everything from comics to video games, and it launched a working relationship with Carpenter that would continue to shape Russell's career. Their next project, The Thing, 1982, pushed Russell even further into complex, emotionally demanding territory. As Macready, the pragmatic and paranoid leader confronting an alien terror in Antarctica, Russell delivered a restrained, internalized performance that grew in stature over time. Initially met with tepid reviews, The Thing has since become revered as a masterclass in horror filmmaking, an enduring testament to both Carpenter's vision and Russell's quiet intensity. The mid-1980s saw Russell broaden his repertoire again. In Big Trouble in Little China, 1986, he flipped the action hero mold on its head by portraying Jack Burton, a loud, clueless, yet endearing trucker, inadvertently caught in a mystical battle. While the film struggled at the box office upon release, It found cult status in the years that followed, largely due to Russell's comedic timing and willingness to subvert traditional masculine roles. That same year, he charmed audiences alongside Goldie Hawn in Overboard, blending physical comedy with genuine heart and reaffirming his romantic leading man appeal. Russell also proved his dramatic mettle in Elvis, 1979, directed by Carpenter. His immersive portrayal of the music legend earned him an Emmy nomination and marked one of the first serious roles that hinted at his depth as an actor. This performance held personal meaning for Russell, who had previously appeared as a child actor in one of Elvis's films, a fitting full-circle moment in his career. The 1990s brought a mix of prestige projects and box office hits. In Backdraft 1991, Russell portrayed a seasoned firefighter entangled in both family drama and a high-stakes arson investigation. His performance balanced grit with emotional resonance, contributing to the film's commercial and critical success. In Stargate 1994, he returned to science fiction as Colonel Jack O'Neill, anchoring the fantastical narrative with a grounded, stoic performance that gave the film credibility and helped launch a major media franchise. Perhaps most iconic from this era was Tombstone, 1993, in which Russell played legendary lawman Wyatt Earp. While Val Kilmer's turn as Doc Holliday drew widespread acclaim, Russell's commanding presence was the film's moral and emotional anchor. Behind the scenes, many insiders credit him with steering the troubled production and preserving the film's vision after tensions with its original director. His quiet leadership helped elevate Tombstone into one of the most beloved westerns of the modern era. As the decade closed, Russell had proven himself not just as a box office draw, but as a craftsman who brought authenticity and soul to every performance. He had become a rare kind of movie star, one who was equally convincing wielding a shotgun in a dystopian future, as he was sharing heartfelt laughs in a romantic comedy. In an industry that often prizes reinvention, Kurt Russell thrived by remaining true to himself, a performer driven not by trends or accolades, but by character, story, and a genuine love for the work. By the end of the 1990s, Russell's filmography was a testament to his range, work ethic, and enduring appeal. It was a golden age in his career, marked not just by popular success, but by the quiet accumulation of performances that would come to define a legacy, one built on consistency, charisma, and a fearless embrace of the unexpected. Though widely known as one of Hollywood's most dependable and enduring leading men, Kurt Russell's path through fame was not entirely smooth. Despite his affable on-screen persona and reputation for professionalism, Russell encountered several moments of crisis, setbacks, and controversy that shaped both his personal life and career choices. One of the earliest professional hurdles came during the 1980s, when Russell attempted to transition from the image of a Disney child star to a serious actor capable of tackling more complex adult roles. While some of his performances, particularly in John Carpenter's Escape from New York and The Thing, would later be hailed as cult classics, their initial critical and commercial reception was lukewarm. The Thing in particular was a box office disappointment and received harsh reviews upon release, with some critics calling it overly nihilistic. This reaction deeply affected Russell, who had believed in the film's artistic ambition. Only years later did the movie gain the appreciation it deserved, but at the time, the backlash stung. In his personal life, one of Russell's more public controversies stemmed from his divorce from Susan Hubley, his first wife, in 1983. While not scandalous by Hollywood standards, the split occurred during a transitional period in Russell's life, when he was also beginning a long-term relationship with actress Goldie Hawn. The pair, often idealized as one of Hollywood's most endearing couples, were not without their own scrutiny. Their decision not to marry, despite decades together, invited repeated speculation from tabloids and the press. While Russell and Hawn have publicly maintained that marriage was not necessary for their happiness, they were frequently the subject of rumors and gossip columns. Kurt Russell also faced professional controversies due to his strong personal views. He has been outspoken in interviews about his libertarian-leaning political beliefs and his skepticism of certain government policies. In an industry often dominated by progressive voices, Russell's contrarian stance led to occasional media backlash and accusations of being out of touch with the Hollywood mainstream. Yet he has remained unapologetic, asserting that his career should be judged by his work, not his politics. Another point of contention came during the 1990s, when Russell began taking on fewer leading roles in favor of ensemble casts or secondary characters. Critics speculated that he was fading from relevance, and some questioned whether he could still carry major blockbusters. While his decision to prioritize family life and creative freedom over constant visibility was intentional, the shift was misinterpreted by some as a career decline. Despite this, Russell quietly continued to build a respected filmography, including standout performances in Tombstone 1993 and Breakdown 1997, proving he had lost none of his magnetic screen presence. In recent years, Russell has also faced minor social media backlash over past comments and his perceived reluctance to conform to modern Hollywood trends. However, rather than engage in reactive defenses, he has opted to stay largely private and let his work speak for itself, a choice that has earned him continued respect from both fans and colleagues. While Kurt Russell's career has largely been free of scandal compared to many of his contemporaries, these periods of crisis and public scrutiny illustrate that even the most grounded of stars must navigate the complex and often contradictory nature of celebrity. Through it all, Russell has maintained his dignity, humor, and fierce independence, traits that continue to endear him to audiences around the world. After navigating periods of creative uncertainty and stepping away from the limelight, Kurt Russell's return to prominence was nothing short of remarkable. What set Russell apart in his comeback was not a dramatic reinvention, but rather a reinvigoration, a return to the raw authenticity and old-school charisma that had always defined his screen presence. In the early 2000s, Russell began selectively choosing roles that played to his strengths, rugged, layered characters with a blend of grit and wit. One of the turning points came with Quentin Tarantino's 2007 film Death Proof, in which he played the chilling and unpredictable stuntman Mike. Though the film had polarizing reviews, Russell's performance was widely praised for its fearless intensity and throwback energy. It reminded audiences of his capacity to dominate the screen, even in roles that veered into morally ambiguous or villainous territory. But it was his collaboration with director Peter Berg in Deepwater Horizon 2016, and then his scene-stealing role as Mr. Nobody in the Fast and Furious franchise, that catapulted Russell back into mainstream blockbuster relevance. In these roles, he exemplified the gravitas of a veteran performer who could add depth to high-octane narratives without overshadowing the ensemble cast. He brought a certain timeless cool, proving that age had only refined his craft. Perhaps the most charming phase of his comeback was his portrayal of Santa Claus in Netflix's The Christmas Chronicles 2018 and its sequel. It was a role that merged his natural warmth, humor, and command of the screen, while also delighting a new generation of viewers. His real-life partner Goldie Hawn appeared alongside him as Mrs. Claus, and the chemistry between them added to the film's magic. This unexpected Christmas franchise revealed Russell's range, showing he could pivot from action thriller to family-friendly fantasy without missing a beat. Simultaneously, his role in The Hateful Eight 2015 as John the Hangman Ruth reunited him with Tarantino and delivered one of the most memorable Western performances of the decade. It was a role tailor-made for Russell's talents, tough yet principled, violent yet oddly endearing. The film marked another high point in a post-hiatus career that had clearly found its rhythm again. Russell's resurgence was not just about the roles he chose, but the way he embraced his legacy. Rather than chasing modern trends or attempting to reinvent himself for a younger audience, he leaned into the persona he had spent decades crafting. He became a symbol of resilience, of an actor who could disappear for a while, only to return stronger and more self-assured. Outside of acting, his personal life remained remarkably grounded. His long-standing partnership with Goldie Hawn became a beacon in an industry where lasting relationships are rare. He embraced family life and even became a mentor figure to younger performers, including his son Wyatt Russell, who followed in his footsteps into acting. In an industry that often discards its elder statesmen, Kurt Russell's comeback was a refreshing reminder that talent, when combined with patience and purpose, can endure. He didn't need a scandal, a reinvention, or a rebranding. He just needed the right script at the right time, and the world was ready to watch him shine again. His journey back to the top wasn't fueled by hype, but by craft, by authenticity, and by an unwavering sense of who he is as an actor and as a man. It is this unshakable identity that made his resurgence one of Hollywood's most quietly powerful comeback stories. As Kurt Russell enters the twilight of an extraordinary career, his legacy is one of quiet power, enduring versatility, and a steadfast refusal to conform to Hollywood's fleeting trends. Unlike many of his contemporaries, Russell has not relied on flashy headlines or award-laden campaigns to cement his reputation. Instead, his legacy has been built through a steady body of work that spans over 6 decades, marked by roles that have challenged conventions and revealed the richness of the American male archetype. One of Russell's greatest contributions to cinema is his collaboration with legendary director John Carpenter. Their work together, particularly in films like Escape from New York, The Thing, and Big Trouble in Little China, not only helped define a new genre of anti-hero-driven storytelling, but also created cult classics that continue to inspire filmmakers today. His portrayal of Snake Plissken in particular remains one of the most iconic characters in science fiction and action cinema. Plissken's stoic, cynical demeanor has become a blueprint for many action protagonists in modern pop culture, influencing characters such as Solid Snake in the Metal Gear video game series and countless other media heroes. Moreover, Russell's commitment to authenticity and emotional depth brought nuance to the rugged masculinity that defined many of his roles. Whether he was portraying a legendary lawman like Wyatt Earp in Tombstone or a troubled stuntman in Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof, Russell imbued his characters with vulnerability, wit, and a lived-in realism that made them resonate deeply with audiences. His refusal to be boxed into a single genre, moving fluidly between drama, comedy, thriller, and action, underscores a career driven by curiosity rather than ego. In his personal life, Russell has also become a symbol of stability and longevity in an industry often marked by turmoil. His decades-long partnership with actress Goldie Hawn has been widely admired not just for its endurance, but for the mutual respect and autonomy that define their relationship. As a father and grandfather, Russell's influence extends beyond the screen, inspiring a new generation of actors, including his son Wyatt Russell, who has carved out his own promising career in both film and television. Russell's impact is also evident in how younger filmmakers and actors speak about him. Directors like James Gunn and Quentin Tarantino have openly acknowledged the inspiration they've drawn from Russell's characters and work ethic. His appearances in recent franchises like Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 1, The Ballnet 2, and The Christmas Chronicles have introduced him to new generations, proving his relevance and appeal remain intact. These performances showcase not only his charisma, but his willingness to evolve and embrace roles that both honor his past and reflect a modern sensibility. His legacy is not measured in Oscar statuettes, but in the timelessness of his work. Kurt Russell's characters are watched, quoted, and reimagined decades after their debuts. His films continue to be discovered by new fans on streaming platforms, ensuring that his work lives on in an era far beyond the time it was created. In the end, Kurt Russell's legacy lies in his quiet defiance, the way he navigated Hollywood on his own terms, the way he balanced stardom with integrity, and the way he became a lasting figure not just in film, but in the broader cultural imagination. His name may not always be shouted from rooftops, but for those who value craftsmanship, authenticity, and the ability to captivate without compromise, Kurt Russell stands tall as one of the most influential and respected actors of his generation. One of the greatest sorrows in Kurt Russell's life has been his complex relationship with his parents and the passing of loved ones who profoundly shaped his journey. Born to actor Bing Russell, Kurt grew up with a deep appreciation for the craft of performance, but also witnessed firsthand the harsh realities of show business, its competitiveness, its insecurities, and the frequent rejections. While he admired his father's persistence and kindness, Kurt often struggled with the pressure of living up to his father's legacy. The loss of Bing Russell in 2003 left a lasting hole in Kurt's heart. Bing had not only been his father but also a mentor and his earliest inspiration. Kurt openly expressed how much his father's steady belief in him meant, and losing that guiding voice was a deeply emotional experience. Another emotional wound for Kurt came from navigating the balance between fatherhood and his career. Though he formed a loving and enduring relationship with Goldie Hawn and took on a fatherly role to her children, including actress Kate Hudson, Kurt often reflected on the challenges of raising a blended family under the relentless scrutiny of the public eye. There were moments when personal sacrifices had to be made, turning down roles to be present for his children, or weathering rumors and media speculation about his relationship with Hawn. Despite the resilience they showed as a couple, these moments were painful and tested his emotional limits. Furthermore, like many who rise to stardom early, Kurt grappled with the inevitable fading of youth and the shift in public perception as he aged. Once the charismatic action hero and leading man, Kurt sometimes found himself battling against typecasting and the diminishing roles offered to older actors. This professional frustration was compounded by a sense of mourning for a chapter of life that had passed, a golden age of Hollywood in which he had thrived, now replaced by a faster-paced, often less character-driven industry. Perhaps most heartbreaking, though rarely spoken of publicly, is the quiet sorrow Kurt carries for the missed opportunities and roads not taken, the roles he passed on, the friendships that faded, and the projects that never came to fruition. These are the personal, invisible losses that do not make headlines but linger in the soul of every artist. For Kurt Russell, a man known for his charm and rugged confidence, these moments of grief and vulnerability only deepen the legacy of a life lived in full, honestly, passionately, and with a heart that, despite all, still beats for the magic of storytelling. Despite being known for his professionalism, affability, and long-standing relationships in Hollywood, Kurt Russell has not entirely escaped the drama and conflict that can occasionally arise in the entertainment industry. Over his extensive career, Russell has faced differences in creative vision, personality clashes, and industry politics with several actors and filmmakers. While many of these conflicts have been downplayed or resolved, they nevertheless form an intriguing part of his complex journey through stardom. Below are 10 notable examples of reported or speculated conflicts Russell has encountered. John Carpenter, creative tension. Although Russell and director John Carpenter created cinematic magic together in films like Escape from New York and The Thing, their partnership was not without creative disagreements. Carpenter, known for his uncompromising vision, reportedly clashed with Russell over character interpretations, especially during the shooting of Big Trouble in Little China. However, their mutual respect usually allowed these tensions to be constructive rather than destructive. Val Kilmer, ego on set of Tombstone. During the filming of Tombstone 1993, rumors swirled about conflicts between Russell and Val Kilmer, who played Doc Holliday. Some insiders claimed that Kilmer, known for his intensity and strong opinions, initially resisted Russell's behind-the-scenes influence, especially as Russell was reportedly shaping directorial choices after original director Kevin Jarrett's dismissal. However, both actors later dismissed these claims and praised each other's performances publicly. Patrick Swayze, Clash of Styles. On the set of Backdraft, 1991, Russell and Swayze were rumored to have differing approaches to their roles. Swayze's method acting clashed with Russell's more instinctive, old-school style. Although never confirmed publicly, crew members noted an undercurrent of competition between the two stars, vying for dominance in the film. Goldie Hawn, personal tensions. While not a conflict in the professional sense, even Russell's longtime partner Goldie Hawn admitted in interviews that they've had serious disagreements over roles, public appearances, and media narratives. Their choice not to marry led to rumors and speculation, but both always insisted on mutual respect as the foundation of their decades-long relationship. Nevertheless, artistic decisions like their joint project Overboard sometimes stirred tension before finding harmony. Oliver Stone, political and artistic clashes. Russell was once considered for roles in Oliver Stone's films, including Born on the 4th of July, but reportedly disagreed with Stone's overt political messaging. Their differing worldviews, Russell leaning more libertarian and Stone leaning liberal, created a rift that ultimately kept them from collaborating. Steven Seagal, on-set disrespect. During the filming of Executive Decision, 1996, in which both actors appeared, reports circulated that Russell found Seagal difficult to work with. Seagal's reputation for arrogance and disrespect on set clashed with Russell's more down-to-earth demeanor. Their characters barely shared screen time, which some say was a production decision made to avoid further tension. Mel Gibson, controversial friendship. Russell has publicly defended Mel Gibson during the actor's period of public backlash over anti-Semitic remarks and other controversies. This led to friction with some peers in the industry, who felt Russell's support was misplaced. While Russell never condoned Gibson's comments, his loyalty drew mixed reactions from fellow actors and critics. Kate Hudson, professional differences. In a rare case of artistic disagreement within the family, Russell and his stepdaughter, Kate Hudson, reportedly clashed over a project idea she wanted to pursue that Russell deemed unwise, although it never became a public feud. Interviews hinted at generational and stylistic differences in how they viewed fame and career choices. Quentin Tarantino, script control on The Hateful Eight. Though they worked together on The Hateful Eight, sources noted that Russell had concerns about the length and pacing of the script. Tarantino's rigid adherence to his own script left little room for improvisation, causing brief creative friction. Nevertheless, Russell ultimately praised Tarantino's vision and contributed a compelling performance. Sylvester Stallone, box office competition. During the 1980s, Kurt Russell and Sylvester Stallone were friendly competitors in the action movie genre. While they co-starred in Tango and Cash, 1989, egos occasionally flared on set. Both actors wanted top billing and argued about script changes. In later years, they reconciled, with Stallone even offering Russell roles in the Expendables series.